In this video, we're going to take a look at 8 notorious gang members who are finally getting the punishment they deserve. These individuals, some of the most famous criminals in history, have been captured on camera and forced to face the consequences of their actions, a lifetime of incarceration. So, without further ado, let's get started. Abel Gallegos, a 36-year-old man, was one of 3 gang members who took the life of the 28-year-old Cymone Duran in November 2018. Gallegos and his fellow gang members Alonso, Quintana, and Rene Rosales labeled Duran as a snitch. The Jefferson County District Attorney's Office reported that Duran was able to recognize and point out Quintana in a lineup. The lineup was for a shooting incident that had occurred in Adams County earlier that year. Gallegos and Rosales arranged a meeting at a house in Denver with Duran and several other people. When they arrived, Gallegos quickly took Duran to a nearby parking lot where he met Quintana, and the 2 men assaulted her in the backseat of a car. They then drove Duran to Golden, where they shot her 10 times before setting her body on fire. Judge Philip McNulty handed down the most severe punishments for all of Gallegos' 9 convictions, including a mandatory life sentence in prison without parole for first-degree homicide. The total sentences for his other crimes added up to another 163 years in prison.
With your family and friends crying as you're let out of the courtroom to serve the rest of your life in prison.
McNulty expressed his sorrow to the family of Duran, lamenting that their loved one had been brutally taken from them because she had done the honorable thing by agreeing to be a witness in an attempted murder case. McNulty also had some remarks for the family and friends of Gallegos, who could be heard crying in the courtroom as he read his verdict.
We have people sobbing today. If there's any tears, they should be shed for Miss Duran. She didn't have a choice.
The Carpio Brothers. On April 24, 2013, Anthony and Michael Carpio engaged in a violent altercation with 18-year-old Kevin Orellana. It happened as he was playing handball at Cleveland High School in Reseda. Michael initiated the attack, but it was Anthony who escalated the situation by pulling out a knife and viciously stabbing Orellana 10 times in the head, neck, and torso. The 2 brothers, members of the notorious Rockwood Street Gang, quickly hopped into a car driven by Michelle Pineda in an attempt to flee the scene after witnessing that Orellana had become incapacitated. According to witness accounts, the altercation began after the brothers issued a gang challenge to Kevin, who had no affiliation with any such organization. Prior to the sentencing, Deputy District Attorney Scott Marcus of Los Angeles County read a powerful and emotionally charged victim impact statement that was prepared by Orellana's family.
As a parent, we plan to dance at their wedding, celebrate a promotion, look forward to possible grandchildren. The last thought we would ever have is that we will have to plan their funeral.
Anthony Carpio was sentenced to 16 years to life, and Michael Stephen Carpio was sentenced to 15 years to life. Andrew Romero. This is Andrew Romero, also known by his gang name, Little Thug Boy. Romero was brought before Sandoval County Judge George Eichwald for his sentencing hearing, following the jury's conviction of him for first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of Rio Rancho police officer Greg Nigel Benner. Romero was in a vehicle with his then-girlfriend Tabitha Littles, who was driving. They were pulled over by police officer Benner due to the suspicious license plates on their car. Without warning, Romero took out a handgun and shot Officer Benner multiple times. Littles recounted that the 2 had been driving around all day, fueled by drugs purchased with money taken from the robbery of an Albuquerque fast food restaurant. After committing that crime, they had set their eyes on another robbery. However, it was at this point when Romero took out a gun and shot Benner.
Sentenced me to a life without Greg. A life alone.
Romero had a long rap sheet, which included a manslaughter conviction. On the day he took aim at Benner, he was wanted for a seemingly minor violation, neglecting to show up for court-ordered drug treatment. Judge Eichwald sentenced Romero to life in prison.
You will die in prison.
He also ruled that Romero was guilty of multiple counts, which included evidence tampering, shooting from a vehicle, and other criminal charges. As a result of these convictions, he was sentenced to an additional 23 years. Darius Gaskin, Jomar Robinson, and Kenneth Hill. After an extensive 2 days of jury deliberations, 3 men were found guilty of the cold-blooded murder of Basim Sulaka, a beloved 51-year-old father of 2 and a cancer survivor. Sulaka owned and operated the Moonlight Party Store in Clinton Township, Michigan for nearly 2 decades. 3 men, Kenneth Hill and Jomar Robinson of Clinton Township and Darius Diaz Gaskin of Detroit, were tried and convicted in Macomb County Circuit Court on charges of first-degree murder, armed robbery, and other associated felonies. Clinton Grayson, the fourth defendant in the case, was convicted of the same charges by an independent jury and subsequently received an identical sentence. On the night of March 28, 2014 at 11 p.m., Diaz, Gaskin, Robinson, and Grayson entered the Moonlight Party store on Harper Street. The store's video surveillance shows that within 20 seconds of their entrance, the store's owner, Basim Salaka, was shot in the back with a 9mm handgun allegedly belonging to Diaz Gaskin. The three men expressed their remorse to the court, each conveying regret for their actions. Before handing down her ruling, Judge Mary Shanowski expressed surprise and displeasure at a comment made by Robinson directed at Sulaka's sister, moments before his sentencing was due to take place for murder.
What more could you possibly want to take from this family, yet insult them and threaten them and say, this ain't over yet? What does that mean? Fill us in, because you know what, I'm a little worried for them.
Robinson adamantly denied that he was talking to Sulaka's family or even his sister, claiming instead to have been conversing with someone else. Judge Shanowski stated that if she could, she would give Robinson an additional 10 years in prison for this offense. David Adam Pate. David Adam Pate, a 25-year-old resident of Lancaster, North Carolina, had a sinister plan in mind in November 2013. That's when he lured 33-year-old Ricky James into some nearby woods with wine. After luring him there, Pate proceeded to stab James an alarming 39 times. It was 2 weeks after his arrest for disorderly conduct that officers finally found the victim's decomposing body in a nearby woodland while children were playing there. When police searched the home of Pate, they found a startling number of weapons. Aside from the numerous commercially bought knives, officers also discovered an extensive collection of homemade knives. Furthermore, authorities uncovered more than 20 masks. When he was arrested and placed in police custody, Pate's mugshot was taken. His face bore a terrifying expression, which was accentuated by the fact that his tongue had been split like a lizard, and he had a 974 tattoo on his neck, the symbol of the notorious white power gang known as Gangster Disciples. Pate, who admitted to committing the murder, told investigators that his motive was inspired by the infamous slasher movie Halloween. He used a knife just like Michael Myers. In a video interview detailing the events of that night, Pate informed the officers that Ricky was responsible for the incident, expressing his disbelief at why anyone would choose to go drinking in a secluded area with someone who looks like this. He also confessed to tying James up with rope from neck to ankles in the hopes of dragging him to a nearby creek, though he was too intoxicated and tired to do so. The court heard emotional testimony from Ricky's brother.
We're going to suffer, because they say God is a vengeance. And thank you, God.
Circuit Court Judge Dan Hall also had a few words for Pate.
It appears that this murder, even yet, seems to be completely senseless, remorseless, emotionless.
Pate was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder he committed. And that's it for today. We truly hope you enjoyed our video. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share your thoughts with us in the comments. Be sure to hit subscribe if you don't want to miss any courthouse updates from this channel. We'll see you soon for an all-new case, so stay tuned until then.